Welcome. Okay, well, we will get started. Okay, so now that we've got it all recording, okay, welcome everyone. I'm going to just introduce myself again to Healthy Together Time and the 90-day Show Up Challenge webinar. For those that are just hopping on, my name is Charlie Artigas and I am an intern in Utah. I started out believing that I was going to go to hair school. I was going to go to hair school, become a cosmetologist, and do that for the rest of my life. Each day went by where I had this constant feeling that there was more out there and I needed to jump on it. I was always super passionate about everything health related, so I decided to make the jump and start working towards getting a degree in this. Now I'm currently working towards my bachelor's in public health and will be graduating this December, which is what has introduced me to this amazing Habits of Health program. Health system. I have absolutely loved being a part of this wonderful community and learning so much from each and every one of you guys. Thank you for letting me hop on this week to present. I would also like to invite everyone again, if you have one, and again, it's okay if you don't, to grab your Habits of Health book and life book because we will be diving into a few different pages with amazing information that you will want to save for later, trust me. Okay, let's get started. We are on week 15 of the Show Up Challenge. So I want you to drop in the chat, how are you doing? Are you showing up for yourself each and every day? The best case scenario is to come live to the Wednesday webinar with your camera on because we love to see all of your smiling faces. We have found we are all more present and get the most out of it when we do this, but we get it. Sometimes you will have to do the playbacks and that is totally okay. But be sure to mark your tracker. And did you check in with your buddy this week? If not, it's not too late. Also, if you are a coach, did you attend your training this week? Ask the coach who invited you to the challenge if you are curious and want to listen to any of the coach training playbacks. So I want to get started on the 4 components of the program. Well, these 4 components are like the 4 legs of a chair. Have you guys ever attempted to sit in a chair with only 3 legs? Oh goodness, yeah, it usually ends up with somebody on the floor. If you don't utilize all 4 legs, you get a chair that is not very stable. And these 4 components are 1, that everyone gets a coach or an accountability buddy. Everyone, including the coaches, are working on themselves. 2 is the Habits of Health transformational system. This system is key because your body will typically match up to where your mindset is. So this is where you do the mindset work. 3 is the Optavia community. You are participating in one right now on this webinar. You are not alone in your pursuit of optimal health, and your chances of success increase when you plug in. I have witnessed this throughout my internship and am blown away by the community and the environment this program has. And lastly, but not least, the scientifically designed fuelings. These fuelings reduce decision fatigue and overall simplify the process of creating new healthy habits. We specialize in high nutrition and muscle protection with nothing artificial.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Charlie. And we will just move right into our topic, which tonight is continuing to show up. So officially, the Show Up Challenge, for those of you who have been participating, ends on Sunday. And we want to talk tonight about what you want to create over the next 90 days. And so to help with that, we have pulled our top tips from the Habits of Health book and the Life book that we wanted to share with you as you start thinking about these next 90 days, which, by the way, will take us into the new year. And so we want you to be thinking about how you want to show up over these next 90 days and moving forward. And our top tips for you that we're going to provide some examples with to illustrate these is the first one is make it appealing. We also want you to think compound effect with this. And lastly, we don't want you to go it alone. So we will move right into that first tip. And to help us with this is something that Dr. Anderson mentioned in our Life book. And he gives you a few questions to consider when you're thinking about forming new habits And the first one is it appealing? Do I want to do it? And as he's talking about this, he has us reflect on these questions, because this is what really gets us into action when we have something that's appealing, and it helps us reach that outcome that we ultimately want to achieve, even if the steps to get us there aren't our favorite. So to kind of illustrate this, I wanted to give an example, sort of funny, but with just everyday life. And it's family pictures. By the way, you're getting to see this probably for the first time out of anyone, because these pictures were never shared with anyone. Just to give you a little background, this was like, getting family pictures is something that I love, but not everyone enjoys. And so and get everyone on the same page, I wanted to do something a little different this year. But let me take you back to this particular family picture. We thought, oh, it'll be fun. We'll do those newborn pictures. And we didn't even have all our kids at this time. But I remember my husband specifically telling me when these family pictures were taken, he's like, I would rather go to the dentist than get family pictures. And I thought, fair enough. It was a train wreck getting these family pictures. We had a toddler that was running around, kids that were hungry, a baby that wasn't happy to be there and quite new. So I thought, well, what could we do to make this next experience? And so the next family pictures, I left my husband out, like no adults, it was just kids. And I thought, well, there's one option, but I would really like to have all of us in the family pictures. So we kept having family pictures, but this year in particular, I didn't want to skip it, but I wanted it to be enjoyable along the way. And so to make the process just as appealing and enjoyable as the outcome, which is having these memories recorded, I thought, we're going to do something different. This year, we are going to dress up kind of silly, like from a movie. Each of us will be a different character. So we chose our favorite movie. And for those of you on the podcast, I apologize, you cannot see these pictures, but each person in our family was assigned by me to be a different character in this movie. And this movie is Napoleon Dynamite. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's really silly, but our family laughs pretty good over it. So we each had a role to play. And I have to tell you, this made family pictures totally different. It was kind of a game changer for our family. There was no crying, no tears. Getting ready was actually pretty enjoyable. We were laughing through the whole process. And the process to get there was just as fun as getting the pictures taken, which is pretty different from the past experiences. For example, our photographer texted me one time prior to the pictures, and she said, I have the perfect location. What if we took these pictures at my parents' alpaca farm? Which, if you've seen the movie, there is a good character in this movie who's a llama. So it was perfect. And the experience was just entertaining. And so our top tip to you is, first off, when you think of these next 90 days, think of something you want to create that's appealing to you. Maybe you're just continuing with what you've already started, but maybe you're wanting to work on something different. So when we had these family pictures taken, our photographer was laughing so hard that she took a video of this experience and put it together. So if those of you who are listening to the podcast can't see this, I apologize, but enjoy the music. And in case you hear the word fat lard thrown out, it's totally a reference from the movie, and they're referring to the llama, no person. So here we go. We'll play it real quick.
Kid would look great at me. I used to put my faith in myself, but on the case you get to hell and say, hey, hey. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my consent to the hey, hey. carefree. Until I took a trip to the other side of town. You know I heard that boogie rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, 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 west. And he coming up for me to do the dance. All these bad times I'm going through the dance. Got candy in my.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to Charlie for tip number 2.
Napoleon Dynamite is my favorite movie. I died when I saw her family pictures. It's the cutest thing. Okay, so for tip number 2, you guys, and that is to think compound effect. I'm going to go into something a little bit before explaining as to how this correlates with that. And so to start off, I would like to discuss something that really stood out to me while preparing for this presentation. Life can be difficult, you guys. We can be in such a rut that we may feel as if there is absolutely no way out. So I'm going to ask you guys if you would be able to put a 1 in the chat if you have ever felt this way. I know I couldn't hit my 1 fast enough or enough times because it would be like through the roof, because yeah. But, oh, I'm seeing lots of 1s. I love it. Okay, you are not alone. That is exactly how the British cycling team felt. And I'm sure that you have heard this example 1,000 times, but it is too good not to use because it teaches us a pretty amazing life lesson. So to give some background, Sir Dave Brailsford, who you see in this picture, was hired in 2003 to improve Team Sky professional cycling team who, up to that point, had never been very good. They were so bad, in fact, that manufacturers were actually refusing to sell them bikes because it would damage their reputation. Can you imagine that? Oof. Brailsford wanted to make a change, so he initiated a new strategy and started looking at all the little ways that they could improve their performance, such as tire pressure, uniforms, helmets, what they were eating, how they were training, and so much more. Through these small day-to-day changes, he was able to transform them into what many consider the best sports team in the world, winning 3 Tour de France victories in the last few years. He attributed it to these simple methods, which he called the aggregation of marginal gains. If you go after all these incremental gains and aggregate them together, you can do just about anything you set your mind to. So here's where I'm going to have you guys turn to page 151. And it kind of goes into background about this, about the team. But Dr. A states on this page, small victories add up. Forms and better pillows might not be enough to win a race in isolation, but a series of small changes can become a big transformation. So that being said, you may not go to bed and wake up the next morning automatically at your optimal well-being. But by making day-to-day choices to show up, you will see results. The changes that you make don't necessarily need to be huge and grand, but rather small and significant. This goes along with our second tip, and this is where I tie it in to think compound effect. Right now, it may not seem as though what you are doing is making any difference, but understand that it will, because it adds up over time. So another quote that I feel is important to remember is one from Earl Nightingale. It states, "Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway." That being said, again, sorry guys, I'm making you hop around. On page 67 of the Habits of Health book, Dr. A discusses that on average, a habit takes 66 days to become an unconscious part of your routine. When I read that at first, I had to take a step back because I was a little mad. I wanted immediate change. I wanted to wake up the next day and be a new me, new me. These past couple of months though, while finishing school, I have really tried to focus on this and truly gain a better understanding of it because it can make such a difference in our lives. I chose one specific habit that I would work on and had a few others to do so as well in a challenge similar to the Show Up Challenge. I decided to choose meditation as my healthy habit. I woke up early each morning in order to accomplish it each day. And during that time, I realized something. I have the choice to sleep that extra 10 minutes or wake up early and accomplish my habit goal for that day. No matter what choice I make, the time passes. So it is important for me to show up for myself and wake up to use that time to work towards my goals, because everything that is worthwhile takes time and effort. Okay, so like I stated earlier, you may not wake up and have become a completely different person overnight, but that doesn't mean that what you are doing is not making a difference in your life. I have been able to attend some of the weekly trainings and am blown away by the amazing knowledge that is taught. At one point, there was a discussion about how the work we are doing now, the choices we are making each and every day, will show up later. It is important to remember that just how significant those small wins are, because even though they seem small and insignificant in the moment, they make a major difference in your life. When you reach your goal, you will look back and see just how significant they are. So that being said, now that the Show Up Challenge is coming to an end, that doesn't mean that your progress has to end as well. You can continue to show up for yourself and make those small changes, because continuing to learn and grow and become your most optimal self. And then sorry, Toni.
Go ahead, you're fine. All right, well, we're going to move into our third and final tip for tonight. And I have to tell you, these were our top picks from the Habits of Health book. It's full of such good information. So it was hard to narrow it down to our top three, and that's why it's all over the place. But number 3 is when you decide to make a change, and Dr. Anderson puts it best when he says, if you decided to change, do not go it alone. And you can find that quote in your Habits of Health book on page 53. And to help us illustrate this point, we wanted to invite Darshan to share with us, but he's going to be sharing with us an example from his own health journey. And while he does, if you have your life book in front of you, we invite you to open up to page 141, which is in element 5. And it gives a great exercise where you get to list people who are supporting you. We refer to them as your friends. And then it has another column for accomplices, which we're not going to dive into tonight. We want to focus on those who support us, because these are the people you want to bring along with you, or at least have in your corner. So with that, Darshan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, can you guys hear me? We're good? All right, cool. All right, so thank you so much, Toni. Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are doing awesome. So I love that message from Dr. A. Having like-minded people around you is a powerful motivator. So I had a severe back injury from working out. It was almost debilitating. The MRI showed that I had a torn herniated disc, 2 vertebrae fractures, adipose tissue developing in the spinal column, bone spurs, and damage to my soft tissue. I went to physical therapy first and eventually had back surgery. The surgery went well. I was feeling very optimistic that I could finally get my life back together again. 2 months after the surgery, I started getting complications. At this point, I was mentally and physically worn out from the pain, so I started taking more and more medications to deal with the pain, and I got addicted to the pain meds. Soon after, I started drinking every single day because I didn't want to deal with my reality. I became more and more depressed, and eventually I just wanted to kill myself. I became very suicidal. I started realizing that if I didn't get any help, my time was going to run out. That's when I reached out to the one person I trusted the most, my brother. I told him what was going on and I needed help, and I needed to get healthy. He had been on the Optavia program and he introduced me to Brenda. I started my health journey on January 2nd, 2020. With the help and guidance, I lost 93 pounds in just over 6 months. So when I was given the opportunity to coach and help others, I thought about how far I had come and the possibility to be able to help and have an impact in someone else's life, just like Brenda had on my life. I had the privilege of getting to know Lori and Maiken through our coaching community. Along with Brenda, they have been guiding and mentoring me to challenge myself to do better and help me during some difficult times I was going through. I knew when the 90-day show up challenge was announced, I could count on any one of these amazing mentors of mine to be my accountability partner throughout the challenge. What you might not know by the smiles you see here, you would never guess the incredible challenges these three women continue to overcome, from caring for their teenager, to caring for aging family members, to dealing with cancer. I knew what each one of them was going through, and I did not want to add that by any means. So I decided I would reach out into our community for an accountability partner, which ended up being Wade, someone who I would have never known without this program. I would call Wade every Sunday and we would talk about previous week's victories and challenges regarding our goals we had set and what we're planning on doing the upcoming week to improve from the week before. We also talked about BYU football, which Wade cried quite a bit. I talked about Tennessee football, which I was always smiling, and a couple of other things. Now, obviously, my health journey started prior to the 90-day show up challenge. So late last year, I had some health concerns that popped up. I was dealing with tiredness and fatigue for several months, and I was struggling to maintain my healthy weight. Once I was feeling better, I wanted to take back control and have a reset. So I got back on our weight loss program, and this was just prior to the 90-day show up challenge starting. The timing couldn't have been better. I started the 90-day show up challenge, and I added that extra support and accountability with Wade. I still have my coach, who was Brenda, and the wonderful support in Lori and Micah. And this makes a difference. The more people you surround yourself with, you become like the people you spend the most time with. As you can see, I have lost weight, 34 pounds to be exact. I am not done with my weight loss journey. Part of my next 90-day show up challenge is to lose the other 20 pounds and then to go to physical therapy to help strengthen my muscles. I'm looking forward to the next 90 days because that just means I'm going to improve that much more. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Toni.
Thank you, Darshan. And what an incredible and inspiring story. I actually was telling Darshan about this. There was one Sunday where I overheard the conversation Wade was having with Darshan, and I didn't realize that they were talking to each other or who Wade was talking to. And I just remember thinking, this is a rich conversation. Whoever he's talking to, I'm really intrigued because it was just really cool to listen to and to see how committed they were to checking in with each other. And so it really does, like Darshan mentioned, make a difference when you surround yourself with others who are also moving forward in your health. All right. Well, we are wrapping up here with this first half hour. And one thing that I wanted to point out, and this was what really motivated me when this show up challenge started. We actually started this among coaches to begin with, and then we opened it up to everyone. But initially, this was the ending point for the 90-day challenge. We were encouraging all of us coaches to show up in Cancun better than we started 90 days ago. And for me, I thought, what a better reward. I'm totally willing to work to show up in Cancun my best. And if you haven't had an opportunity to participate yet in an event, I highly encourage you to participate in one. This takes place next week, but it's not the only one that's happening. We often have events more often now than we did a couple of years ago, where you can attend in person, in addition to these weekly webinars. And this event that's taking place next week will actually take the place of our Wednesday webinar. So because Cancun is happening next week, we will be skipping Healthy Together time next week, but catch us the following week because we will get to hear about showing up emotionally and you won't want to miss it. And Charlie, I'll turn it back over to you for just a second.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining Healthy Together Time tonight. It was so much fun. For the next 30 minutes, we will be having 2 breakout sessions. Many of you are loving the health program and have asked for more information on how to be 500% more likely to reach and maintain a healthy weight long term, how to reach your community and bring others along with you on your journey, or how to improve the health of your finances. That will be the topic in this Zoom room. We will also be offering a breakout room for any newer coaches with our coaching quick start class. Otherwise, we will see you guys in Cancun. I'm so excited for you all, and have an amazing night.
Thank you.